tell me, I mean, so Farzi Cafe isn't exactly fine dining, it's more fun dining.
Fine casual, yeah.
Fine casual. Now, in your perspective, is the era of fine dining on the wane? For example, in your case itself with massive restaurants, you're about to launch only the second masala library. I mean, it's been 3 years since the first one opened, and you've told me that the next one's going to be a masterpiece. But you've launched, this is your fifth Farzi in probably 2 years or 2.5 years. So, do you see fine dining on the wane, and is that reflective of what I see with your brands as well?
You know, worldwide fine dining doesn't have that same pedestal or that same piece of the pie as it used to. Within our own company, obviously we realize the fine casual segment is the main one. So whether it's Farzi Cafe, Masala Bar, Papaya, or Made in Punjab, these are all fine casual restaurants which serve gourmet food but at an affordable price. I think that's the future of dining in India. But fine dining will always remain. It's been here for centuries. It's always going to remain.
Okay.
It's just going to not be very scalable. And we always wanted Masala Library to be a very select, a very niche product, which would remain. Well, actually, it's not niche. It's still got a 3-week waiting period. But it was always going to be one-off, one in a city. We were actually thinking of only one in the country till we came across this wonderful space in Delhi, which we took, and then we decided to open it here. But honestly, it has its space, but it's never going to be as scalable. You can't open too many of them. They are expensive restaurants, they have a very fine experience, but the number of people that actually want to visit is lower than the number of people that want to go to a more casual space. So in a sense, even families have started appreciating more casual spaces, even if they tend to be slightly more high energy and slightly more drink focused. People are preferring to go there. So I think that's the nature of the market, and you have to adapt. You can't force people. That tug of war you're going to lose. You have to just go with the flow, go where the people want to go, and create products and concepts around that.
Tell me about your inspirations. What inspires you when you create, or when you dream up concepts, when you dream up menus, when you dream up that arancini, that you Indianize it, and it's like you had the dal chawal, pickle, when you take that and you put that in an arancini. I'm sure there are inspirations that you draw from. So what inspires you?
You know what inspires me is the food of this country. I have a personal crusade to put Indian food on the global palate. I know I cannot do that by serving conservative, traditional Indian food. It's not going to work. The world will not see it. It is the greatest cuisine. And when I talk about Indian food, I'm talking about pan-Indian food. Sure. North, South, East and West. The complexity, the sophistication of the cuisine is completely unmatched across any cuisine on the planet. I say this with complete conviction. But it's very easy for me to be convinced. The rest of the world has to be convinced too. And they cannot be convinced by my saying so, or by my serving traditional food like, a katori of dal with a swirl of cream on top. Those days are gone. You have to evolve. You have to go with the times. You have to produce food that is visually appealing. Indian food is always delicious, but never visually appealing. I mean, what the hell do? We just take everything, put it in a plate and just eat it together. Tastes fabulous, but doesn't look very appealing to the rest of the world. So my goal is to put Indian food on the global palate by adapting it, not in terms of flavors. The flavors remain intact, but by packaging it better, by marketing it better, by introducing cool culinary techniques like molecular to some extent, or postmodern techniques, or just beautiful levels of presentation, just making them more accessible, fusing them with world ingredients. I think that's what really inspires me. The thought of being able to see one day Indian food at the top of the heap. Every country, every city you go to, the top dining destination, the top 3 choices has to include one Indian restaurant. I want to see that. That's my main goal. That's been my dad's goal for 30 years.
And perhaps one of your brands.
Hopefully. But at least the cuisine, my country's food. And it's up to us. No foreigner, no American or Japanese person is going to come and do that for our cuisine. We'll have to do that ourselves. So that's my major responsibility. That's the kind of moral driving thought process behind this whole company. Making a big company and hopefully being at the top of the heap is obviously important. I'm a competitive person. I'm an entrepreneur. But I have a bigger goal more than just making money, and it is about putting this cuisine on the global palate permanently. And whenever you go to any major city in the world, one of the top dining destinations should be an Indian restaurant.
So speaking of inspirations, what role does your dad, Jigs Kal Brahmin, a very much acclaimed journalist when he began, editor, and then of course a highly regarded, I'd say, Indian culinary exponent. People call him a chef, but I think he's he's done so much in terms of promoting cuisines, whether it's Kashmiri, whether it's Zavdi, and what role does he play in your journey as a restaurateur?
Immense role. So firstly, just the idea, just the concept of becoming a restaurateur evolved from just living with him.
Okay.
Just growing up with him, seeing what he did, traveling the world with him, going to the restaurants that he was consulting at the nearest 5-star hotels. I was drawn to it like a moth to a flame, and I actually loved the lifestyle. I loved the creative aspect. I loved food. I developed a passion for food at a very young age, and I always wanted to be in the restaurant business. I think perhaps in the pre-teen years. So firstly, he just changed my entire mindset and made me who I am today. But what I've really learned from him, and as my mentor, I can say this with all due humility, despite him being my father, is his work ethic and his sheer drive. I've never met a man who loves his cuisine so much, who does what he does with such a level of perfection and such a level of dedication that he does. I mean, literally, I used to see him edit an article 20 times before it went into print. I used to see him work with chefs, work on a recipe all day and still not get it right, do it again the next day, still not get it right, do it the third day. I mean, I was very young when he was making prashad. I was 7 years old when he launched it, but I have some small memories of it, some faint memories of it, and I still remember literally spending a whole day making a biryani, recording it, taking 4 people's perspectives before he wrote that recipe down in the book. So that sense of work ethic, that sense of responsibility towards Indian food, that's what I've really learned from him. That's what I've really gotten from him, and I think that's what's really helped me, and that's what's helped shape the philosophy of this company.